Good morning, Syntropic growers. This is Farmer Jones from rainy central Queensland, near Gippy. And today we're going to be discussing the use of sugarcane as biomass in the Syntropic rows. So we've done, in this particular row, planted in between the trees, and what we found is it's very easy to plant. What we found is once it's established, you can't kill it. It's there pretty much forever, and despite an annual cut, it's back in 8 months. So this is a really resilient cane grass, and we found any tree that's planted near this stuff seems to be sharing its carbohydrates in the roots, and they do very well. Why I like sugarcane as opposed to other types of cane grass is that this one just clumps and it doesn't fall over and send shoots down. It also is a bit similar to clumping bamboo, not the invasive ground running bamboo or barna grass. Barna grass you can see along the side of the highways here in Australia. It's a noxious weed. Now local councils have a very difficult time in controlling it with sprays, because once it falls over, every segment in the cane can drop a little root or a dropper into the soil and start again, and that's the main problem with barna grass. Other grasses like guinea grass and napier grass, they're fine, and we also have found sugarcane not to be invasive. So no matter how many times we've cut this, and this is probably the third or fourth time now, it'll be back up high at 6-8 foot in the next 8 months, ready for the next annual prune. So what are we going to do with it? We lay it down, as you can see. So we go through with our trusty cane knives, we cut it down, lay it one direction, and we just reverse our tractor, which you'll see in a minute, with a Pitio wood chipper, and just feed it in. And just move back slowly, and your mate can feed the stems in. So that's the farming way to do it. You might have a smaller chipper. You can lay the canes down flat if you wish, but obviously it's going to take a lot longer for that cane to break down. Is it worth growing it economically? Well, here in Queensland it is. So a bale of sugarcane bagasse, or the leaf material, is a waste material from the sugarcane farms up here, is I think about $30–40 a bale now. So it's not cheap anymore. So why not grow it yourself? It's incredibly easy to plant. So this is called a billet. When you cut, you leave, for example, halfway there and halfway there. But you must have 2 segments. You can have 3 if you want, but 2 segments is enough. This is how they plant the commercial cane, and they use a machine to deposit it into a trench and fluff the soil over it. But as long as it's got those 2 segments, those 2 joining points in the billet, you will get root droppers. Now one thing I've found with sugarcane is you can't just plant it and forget it. It really does need some irrigation. It likes water to start its life off with. Otherwise, this billet just dries out. Even if it's buried quite deep in the soil, I've dug them up and had a look as to why they're not sprouting, and the thing just dried up and became, mulch, I guess. So how do we plant them? It's quite easy. Here we have an irrigation point here, at least in my system, and we just got to basically do a little trench like that, lay the billet down like that, and just cover him over, and just curl your little irrigation point down onto it and give it some nice mold, and really that's it. So it's incredibly easy to grow. Once you've got sugarcane, you'll have billets for life. In some patches of sugarcane, I've actually cut it back at least 10 times over the last 10 years, and the damn stuff just keeps coming back on you. So it's a very regenerative plant. Once it's up, it doesn't seem to require a lot of water. It can just survive on the rain, but until you get it to that point, you're really going to have some irrigation on it. Let's come and have a look at a different experiment. We planted sugarcane along the side of the fruit trees as a dedicated biomass row. Let's have a look. So have a look at this beautiful row. This sugarcane here is getting up 8, 9, 10 feet tall. And as you can see, first time I've seen this, but it's forming its seed heads, and we're now at the senescence point in the life cycle of the plant. So at this point it's best to take it down. It's preferable to plant sugarcane by billets, not by seeds, of course. And the beekeepers tell me if there's sugarcane flowers around, or seeds, or pollen, it turns the honey black. Now I'm just telling you what a beekeeper told me locally. If you've got bees or you've got hives on your farm, you probably don't want that. So it's time to take this stuff down. So in this case, we irrigated it with triple tape. If you have a look in here, it was quite successful on the trickle tape here. But once it roots up, you've got this clump here. You have to bear in mind that that trickle tape is locked in the root mass. And you're going to have to cut that and throw it away. Probably preferable to run a low density 1-inch poly pipe along the side of the row and just put your straws in, or your little sprinklers or your button sprays or whatever you want to use. But however, this is a really beautiful row of dedicated biomass, and this is just an experiment, of course. We're going to cut this down today, and then we'll show you how the video tractor goes. And we want to direct the shoot of the wood chipper obviously onto the fruit tree rows, and we hope to get enough biomass to make the effort worth it. Now, as I said, sugarcane waste or waste product is $40 a bale, so who knows how many bales we'll get out of this lot, but if you do the math, it could be well worth the effort. In theory, you could do a sugarcane biomass on both sides, but you've got the issue of shading. So we have found that these trees did better than the other row during summer because it was shading them from the hot western sun. And so these trees are a good ½ metre taller than the next row, which had no sugarcane. So the experiment seems to have worked. Let's go and have a look how we chip it up. So in our previous videos, I've showed you my baby, my rusty but trusty Kubota here, and this guy here is about $2,500. But it runs off a 30 horsepower motor. And a chip log's about that big, so this should, in theory, eat up the sugar cane no problem at all.